Okay, so we're moving into the AGM part of the service now, where this is our opportunity just to reflect on the past year, on what God has been doing in the life of the church, as well as sharing with you our finances. Of course, if there's any questions that you have, we are an open book, so come and talk to us about it. And if you'd like a copy of the finances, then these are public records and you can have access to these. So if there's anything that you're not certain about, don't feel like you can't not speak to us about it. Just come and talk to us, and we would love to have that conversation with you. Okay, don't fall asleep. All right, this is going to be great. So we have had a great year as a church. Put your hand up if you have joined us in the past year. If you've joined us. Woohoo! We've had some wonderful people join us in the last year, and we're just so delighted. And with that has come some new life and some new children as well, which has just been wonderful. So if we start with, I've got a little slideshow for you, just to go through some of the things that we have done in the past year. So we've had another year of Gather. We should once a month be having our worship nights, and this has been just part of the routine now of the church, which has been great. Last year we had the Bethel team come and minister to us. That was March time that the Bethel team came and spent some time with us. It's not going to be possible this year to have the Bethel team with us this year, but we hope to in future years. It's not going to be possible this year. We've had the legendary summer barbecue. I realised I didn't actually have a picture, so I had to steal a picture, which we seem to be missing from Google. Oh well, that's fine. But we've had the legendary summer salad, should we call it? Summer barbecue. We've had Easter Sunday. We had our Easter Sunday. And then we also had our first Easter Sunday picnic, where we went down to the lodge as some families, and everybody was welcome to come and just hang out. And we had some great games. Jodie has been working exceptionally hard with the young people and the kids and our programs this last year, and so we continue to have our light party. There was the barbecue picture. We had a light party, and this year she split it into younger kids and older kids. And you know, a lot of what we're doing in the community, it takes time to build momentum. It takes time to build reputation and familiarity with the community. And I think Jodie, as you would all agree, has been doing a fantastic job of just being consistent and being present and doing that. We had the first of our parent nights last year called Parent Space, which was a fantastic opportunity just to meet and have fellowship as parents of young kids and just be honest and grapple with some of the issues that we've got. So I know that I got a lot out of that, and that was a really important time, and just the beginning of what we're wanting to do in this community, which is just to be able to bring support to parents. Christmas cheer was something that we get behind every year, and that was something that we got behind again this year, and we know that we were able to give a significant donation to Christmas cheer this year, which made a big difference, as well as taking the Giving Tree tags and providing gifts. And so that was really wonderful to be part of that again this year. I've just remembered something that I forgot to put in there is the Bethany Caravan, which is something that we're also significantly involved in throughout the year. We had our Christmas Carol service in December, which Jodie and Rob and the team just put a phenomenal amount of work into. If we have the next slides, I think some of my highlights this year was, that was the Family Carol service, and the next one I think was Jodie's outfits. I think that was a real highlight for me this year, was seeing a koala and Wonder Woman in the same talk. How you can bring those things together in one talk is inspiring teaching right there. So we had that. We've been looking into Alpha. So we obviously supported the St Andrew Blackadder Alpha at the end of last year, and we were able to take people along to that. And then we've been running our own Alpha this year as well. We had Katie's baptism just a couple of weeks ago, which was Neil and I, our first baptism since being in post, which was really exciting for us. But exciting for us in the life of the church, to see people who are at that stage in their faith with God and wanting to make a commitment. And Jodie has been working really hard with SU, getting SU into our schools. And so that restarted just in January. Again, we should have a slide for that yet. So that just restarted in January. There was a few PVG issues. As you know, PVG have changed the way that they're doing who has to be PVG'd, and so that put a bit of a pause on things as the school were figuring things out. And so we've managed to restart that again in January. I'm sure there are so many other things that we have as part of the life of the church, but they were a couple of the standout moments for me as part of the year. So I think you can appreciate we've had a busy year, and we continue to have a busy year with what God is doing in this church. And I just feel like he's got so much more for us. So really exciting, really delighted, and just honoured to have you guys all on this journey with us. And we were chatting with somebody this week, and we're just saying, it takes everybody to be part of our community, and we just love, and we're so grateful for the way that you're all involved in helping to make the life of the church happen, and all these activities and all that we can do to bless one another in the community wouldn't happen without you. So I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody for all that you do to make it possible for this church to do all that it does. So thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. I'm going to hand over to Neil now to go over continue the AGM part of the meeting.
Thanks, Joe. I'm just going to introduce Peter in a minute, but just before I do, just to make you guys aware, so there's a whole team that happens behind the scenes to make church happen, to make church life happen. So we have a leadership team, and Peter's on that leadership team, and Simon's on that leadership team. There's me and Joe, and Norman, who's not here, and Jodie is part of that leadership team as well. So that we meet on a regular basis to review the life of the church, to plan, to dream, to think about things, but also to do the kind of practical nitty-gritty of running a charity and making sure that all of that good stuff happens. So that's not always visible to you guys, but just to let you know that happens. We have a leadership team, and we also, in this past year, we've been trying to bring in, you might have noticed, more and more voices into what happens on a Sunday. So just to let you know that's been going on as well. We're trying to bring, we want to be a multi-voice church with different gifts and talents. So we're trying to bring as many people into our planning and thinking about how we do Sundays. So all of that stuff is probably not visible to you, but I just wanted to say that is going on. Team is really important to what we're building here at MBCF. So I'm going to hand over to Peter now. So Peter, you want to come up? Peter is our kind of chair of trustees and helps us keep an eye on our finances and all that stuff. So he's a brilliant mind with great experience in all sorts of areas. And so as you listen to the numbers and the story, listen for what God's been doing in our congregation, because I always find it amazing to see how God is working in the numbers. He's working in your lives. He's working in people's lives, but it's all God working. So, Peter.
Thanks, Neil. Good morning, everybody. Hope Vivian's got you tuned into the Belfast accent, which will get you through the next 10 minutes or so. Yes, I'm presenting this on behalf of the trustees. As Neil says, we meet every month. We look at the issues of the day. We discuss finances, where we're at for the year to date, things that are happening, safeguarding, and all of those good things. So it's good. We do operate very much as a team. And part of our approach to life, it's easy if you listen to the news bulletin ever to come up with is there anybody left in this world that we can trust? It seems to be more and more areas of concern. So part of what we're doing, our response to that is to be open and transparent in every way and try and be really clear about what we're doing, which is why we're talking about money at our main meeting on a Sunday morning. It's not a special meeting in a remote location in the middle of February somewhere, but it also lets us see what God has been doing in the church, and I hope you'll find what we're going to be covering very encouraging. So, finances. Could we have the first? I think you'll see this slide first. Next slide. This is quite a remarkable thing. Week by week, month by month, the church changes a bit. But what has been amazing is the level of giving, and this is the main Sunday morning standing order back, the people who are giving regularly to the church, that has grown consistently over the last number of years. Now that gives us a platform to do things. If we have income coming in, if we're relatively confident, life changes, but relatively comfortable with that income, it means we can think about doing initiatives, doing things, and really building the work of the church. So those have been good. If we look more closely then at where our income comes from, two real places. Budgeted income, what we would describe as budgeted income, that is normal giving as you would recognise it. We also have non-budgeted income, and that falls into a few different categories. We mentioned some of the things that Joe mentioned there. Last year we had an offering for Christmas cheer, which came to about £800. We had an offering for the Bethany Night Shelter that was around £1,400. Towards the end of the year, we also had a situation where one of our church members was, Chris and Harriet's daughter, Grace, was going out to work with YWAM in Cape Town, dealing with other things, the implications of trafficked women, etc., supporting them and the whole YWAM work there. So when we have those offerings, whatever money you give to that cause, we will take that, and if you're gift aiding, we'll add the gift aid to it and pass it on. So it means we're able to be generous outside the church to other things. We also receive, that number was unusually high last year. Sometimes we receive gifts, sometimes there's a bit of, somebody said, we would like to give this person or family a gift, but we want it to be anonymous. Can we do it through the church? And we will facilitate that. There's maybe an area of need that we do or do not know about. And other times it's just lifestyle events. Things happen in people's lives where they come into some money and they feel they want to give on the back of that. And we were particularly blessed in that department last year. We saw a substantial amount of money, 6,000 plus, coming in that. Also, what was absolutely remarkable as well, for the first time last year, we did a mid-year update. It was around the end of September on how the finances were looking for the year to try to keep everybody up to date. It so happened we had a guest that day who was visiting, and or a couple of guests. I didn't even see them. I didn't know about this. And as we gave our update, they were obviously impressed or moved by how much we were achieving in a small congregation and what we were doing. And the next minute, there's a 4-figure amount appeared in our bank account. Just wasn't asked for, wasn't requested, but it was just like God. They've only been once. So they came, it happened to be the day of the update, and they just wanted to give to the work in North Berwick. So whoever you are, I would like to thank you for that. But that's why that number was so high this year. And sorry, in that 85,000 figure, I should also say, there's 17,000 of gift aid in that. We rattle on sometimes, if you're paying tax and you're giving, let's do it by gift aid. It's just amazing the difference that probably have been related to the special gifts, but the rest of it is there. So, very good place to be. So where does that leave us then for the year? 2005. We start the year, we set a budgeted income, budgeted expenditure. In a very spiritual way, I crossed my fingers at the beginning of the year, and equally spiritually breathed a sigh of relief at the end of the year that we've come through it unscathed once again. So, but last year was fairly miraculous nearly. We went into the year, as you'll see there, I'll read out every number for you, you're more than capable of doing that yourselves. We went into the year budgeting for a deficit of just over £4,500. We felt that if we did everything we wanted to do and nothing came out of left field, that would be where we'd be. What actually happened is we did everything we wanted to do and a bit more, and we ended up the year with a 10,000 surplus, which was, 4,000 surplus, sorry. So, we start off the year, what is it we want to achieve? What are the things we want to do? How to support Jodie and our work and various initiatives? So, just a great year. So that leaves us with the number at the bottom, which is our year-end equity, is £49,000. Now, we don't need that much of a surplus. We do need a sum of money if anything happens so that we can honour responsibilities, etc., etc., etc. So this money is building up, and our challenge is now is, God, what are you saying to us? Is there something that we should be doing? Should we be looking at where we're giving or whatever? And that's absolutely on our agenda now. As I say, we've no desire to build up a pot of money just for safety reasons. Okay, but the surplus does enable us to plan for the future. My phone's not behaving. And because with some certainty, like an example would be 2002, we felt God was prompting us to consider employing a family worker. Sorry? What did I say? Oh, sorry, 22. Years are difficult for me. And we put that to the congregation who were here at that time, and we felt that we do want to take a family worker on. We think that's a big step for us. However, a couple of practicals, we don't have the money. And if you're going to take somebody on, you really need to commit yourself to say, we have funding in place to make sure that this role can last. And the view would be, if we have a family worker, they're doing a good job, the church will grow, will attract families, and then it will become self-funding. And so the offering we did effectively gave us enough to fund a year and a half, 2 years of a family worker, so that if whoever joined us was taking a risk and stepping out in faith and coming to us, we had some practical steps in place to make sure we could honour that and commit them. So that was just an example of what we've been able to do, and that fund has helped us over the last period of time. So going into 26, again, we're looking at our income, we're looking at our expenditure, and we are budgeting again for a small deficit. So we're comfortable with where we're at, we're comfortable with what the numbers are, and we hope to just, again, keep being generous, keep doing the things that we're meant to be doing, and take things forward. But it's great, and we really do appreciate the money, the giving that we've got. So if you look at how that money is broken down, how we're going to spend it. There's a few. We break the expenditure down into a number of categories when we're reviewing it. We've got a lady called Charlene. If we look, let's go here. If we look at our giving, what's our giving? We support two ladies. We support Grace in Cape Town from Central. We also support a lady called Jan White, who attended this church for a year, probably in the mid-90s, when Salt and Lights Bible College was in Duns. And she was a GP from down in Oxford. She came, spent a year at the Bible College, attended our church. Then she went out to Uganda, and she's been in rural Uganda ever since. You know this lady? You know Jan well. She's just a freak of nature. She is a phenomenon, you know. But so what started off with setting up a hospice turned into a hospice, maternity unit, GP surgery, and basically everything in very rural Uganda. Now, we support her every month, and she's now 80. I met her last year in Haddington when she was up visiting, and she's as ambitious and driven as ever. But it's lovely that our wee church in North Berwick can help something happen in Uganda, something happen in Cape Town. In terms of giving at home, Joe mentioned the caravan. Every month there's a team goes out the third Monday of the month. We tend to serve roughly 50 people who are daytime homeless. They maybe have a shelter to stay in at night or a bed and breakfast or something at night, but they're really homeless during the day. So we give them sandwich, coffee and 3 sugars generally, or else tea, coffee, water, you know, we give them drinks and a hamper of food. So that's one of the things that, you know, NBCF sponsor every month. So that's really, really good. So that would be our giving, which is total's about 9,000 over the course of the year we're giving there. The big number there is obviously staff. Now, this is not just all wages. This is salaries, pensions, travel expenses, conference expenses, and we've got four very talented people we're blessed to have, if I can say that. We've Neil and Joe, who between them make one full-time employee. Neil manages his software business alongside. Joe has a very responsible job nursing in the Royal Infirmary. We also have Jodie, as you know, who just is a phenomenal family worker. She has just been brilliant and inspirational, and that's great. And we also have a lady called Charlene, who does all the work about putting all these financial numbers together every month. Now, most of you won't have met Charlene for the simple reason she lives in France, but she attended our church for a number of years, did this while she was here. An opportunity came for her and George to go to France, and they did, and they've been living out there for 15 years or something, I don't know how long. But obviously everything's done electronically, so the location doesn't work. What she does do is works with HMRC, does our gift aid, does our national insurance, does all of those good things, and generally keeps us right. So that's the team. We invest in people, and that would be what we would hope to do going forward. The other two sections are ministry, resources, and admin. We pay for the rent of here. We've been meeting in this church now this school as a church for over 30 years, and we're blessed. We've got Graham and the best team of janitors there's ever been. They are just amazingly helpful to us week in, week out, and we can't thank them enough. But just all the admin, the expenses you have, software licenses that come along. But it's all broken down. Now, if anybody would like any more detail about any of those categories, how it's broken down, how it works, please come and speak to me. I don't want to take up too much of this morning doing that. But what I'm wanting to do is say we're on top of every penny. We realize it's important. This money comes because the people who attend the church give. So if you could do the next slide. We really appreciate everybody's giving, and it's not a matter of how much. Everybody's giving is sacrificial. It's going to the work of the church, and we really, really do appreciate it, and it enables us to go forward. Every now and then, I always have to find myself, a couple of years ago by, have I checked? Have I indexed my giving? But circumstances change and givings change, and we appreciate that, either up or down. So thank you for that. And last slide is what happens now. The figures that we have go into a process now. The end result will be sometime in Q2. Neil will compose a verbal report based on what Joe was talking about, and we will submit a full set of audited accounts to the Charity Commission, who will review that, and it keeps us right as well. So that process is on the go, but we used to wait until the audited accounts before we did a finance presentation. That problem is you're talking about the previous year in June, so we chose to say, let's just give you these numbers, these are the figures we're working from, but they're real and they're live, and it's last year and it's this year. So hopefully you find that helpful, give you a bit of a flavour for where we're at, and I'm just downright encouraged. As I say, every year you sort of think, is this going to be the year? But it's amazing blessing, and it does let us have the opportunity to be creative and positive as to how we look to the future. So Neil.
Let's just show our appreciation to Peter. So hopefully you found that helpful. As Peter says, we really appreciate what we do here and how we function here as a church is dependent on people giving generously, and we don't take that for granted. We really appreciate your generosity and your giving. And as Peter says, it's always a good opportunity this time of year to be like, has my giving changed? Does it need to be updated? Is there something that I could be giving? And we appreciate it all. But for me, the finances are also just the picture of what God's doing here. When you see those growth charts and you see that God is on the move here, this is a place where things are happening. And if I told you all the dreams in my heart for things we could do, you would probably burst. But we're going somewhere. We're building something. And when you get, it sounds like just the boring giving of money, but actually your money gets to release the kingdom in and through this community. So just a huge thank you for all of that. So that basically concludes the kind of AGM portion of our service. In a moment, I'm going to share with us just some thoughts around vision. But why don't you turn and say hi to someone next to you, stretch, have a little move around. Just this is your opportunity before you have to listen to a little bit more.